this. So boom, 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 boom. We're live. Eventually, I will definitely get an intro video for this, but hi, y'all. You are on Compin, Colorado right now. If you jumped over here with me from straight out of Compin, yay, I'm glad to see my people. Not only are you real estate people and comping people, but you are Colorado people if you're here. And I am with my all-time favorite, Austin Freitas. He is not only my business partner, but the other half to my brain, and especially the math part. So we're glad you're here, Austin. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I feel kind of strange because I haven't talked to you at all today. I've just been running around like crazy. So in a lot of ways, we
Man.
have some deals that we might be talking about here just in front of everybody so they can see how we think and how we process.
Yeah, I think Nick may actually be coming. I'm not sure though. I sent him an
Ooh.
email about it. But we're going to talk about his property anyways.
Drop him our StreamYard link right now, and he can come in the back and tell us more about the property. I think that would be great.
Okay, let me.
In the
And
meantime,
I
guys,
don't know. I don't know how to share this link. Do I just grab the link from the top?
yeah, actually, that would work. That would totally work. Hi, guys. I'm glad you're here. If you are here and you're watching and you just came from Straight Outta Compin, will you let me know? I would love to see a comment dropped so that I know that you are making that jump with us over here to Compin, Colorado. This is only our second episode, so please give a little bit of patience and time as I figure out all the techie stuff. But what I really wanted to bring to the table here is if you comp with Jamil, amazing. The man is fast. He goes boop, 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 next, 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 and he can see those comps incredibly quickly. Austin and I work on a slower level. We really dive into individual comps and what makes something a good after repair value. So I'm glad you're here. Hey, Danielle, I recognize your name. What's up? And oh, this is good, guys. This is the time where we get to talk specifically about this market. And I'm already seeing the kinds of questions that I want to see, which is, do you like Parker, Colorado for wholesale? And my answer is, heck yes, I do. Because it's funny. Austin goes, no. And that's why we're bringing both sides of our brain together. I like Parker because I know some buyers that are really interested in that area. And even more than just like Parker, as you push into Castle Rock, you've got really hungry buyers. So I would jump and say, heck yes to Parker, but I heard Austin's head rattle. So Austin, what's your first thought when you hear Parker?
Uh, be as far east as possible because you can get into very rural very quick.
So stay
Or
away from,
west
yeah,
as possible.
yeah.
Because
That's kind of a rule all along the Front Range with Colorado. Like the further east you go, the more difficult it can be to find a buyer pool.
yeah.
If you happen to have a deal that you want to look at, Balpley, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, let me know because I'd be happy to take a peek at it and we can kind of decide. That would be amazing. And in the meantime, oh, I'm so glad he's here. I want to talk to Nick. He just popped in backstage. Another amazing wholesaler here in the Colorado area. He also is licensed in Missouri and can help you there with wholesale or traditional deals. Let's get a full round of applause for Nick. Hey, Nick, what's up?
What's going on?
Hey.
So you've got a deal that I know that you've been talking to Austin about, and I have not been in the circle this morning of dealsness. So will you just catch us up between the two of you while I drink way too much caffeine?
Sure. Yeah, I actually just got this house like an hour ago, and had the agent send me pictures. Let's see if I can shoot. You already have the address, don't you?
Yep,
Austin?
I got it pulled up right here.
Cool.
Okay, so just for the YouTube folks, obviously the first thing that I'm looking at when I see this is that it is inactive. So that means that it was listed. So the first thing I want to do is see, where this was listed and how long it sat.
Gotcha.
So we can see here that it was listed in September or it was pulled from the market in September and then relisted in November and then repulled. So immediately that tells me that this 410 is a little high, just because obviously the biggest buyer pool in the world saw it, right? The MLS saw it. They didn't want it at 410,
Yep.
so that's a little high. Now, when we look at comps, this one is actually a perfect example because you can see here that they're kind of everywhere. There's a 540, there's a 510, there's a 445, 350, and out of just these three right here, you can see these are all basically model matches. I mean, this one is exact square footage, has one less bath. This one's a little bit smaller. But if you look at the neighborhood as a whole, you can see kind of a trend, right? 4, 4, 4, 4.
Yep.
A lot of fours here. So that's really what I look at before I even look at any comps specifically.
Yep. See what the neighborhood looks like.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to see what the trend is in the neighborhood, if there is one. So with this one specifically, I'm thinking of 475 just based on the comps that I ran earlier. Like this one, I really like as a comp. It's a model match. It's a little older than I would like to see. Same thing here. This is a great comp. It's a little bit bigger, so you'd have to adjust a bit for square footage.
Gotcha.
And honestly, in my opinion, this is the best one. My only concern is it is smaller. It's the smallest of the comps, but it's the highest priced. So for not the greatest quality of a flip. So I mean, I think with this one, we're probably looking at a 490, 500K ARV.
Okay.
With that, I know. So catch me up on your conversation with the agent.
So she basically sent it over. She said that her partner at her brokerage listed it previously. It sat and expired. They're planning on relisting it again, but they gave her a chance to try to kick it to her investors before she relists.
Okay.
As far as her description of it, I mean, she gave us the majors, that type of stuff, and then basically said it doesn't need any major improvements. There's no structural damage, nothing like that.
Okay.
Do you happen to know, are they planning on listing it at the same price that failed last time?
She didn't say. She said their asking price of 400 currently is a soft price. They'd like to get as close to it as they can, but that they're willing to accept any offers at this point.
Okay. Let me see. I think you said that they had an offer.
They do have an offer in hand right now at 375. That's one reason I like this agent. She's a no BS agent.
Yeah, I mean that's always. Oh no. Oh.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
flips
I mean that's
herself,
always
so
good.
she always brings me good information too. Like I don't have to beg her for information. She just sends it to me right out of the gate.
Gotcha.
Gosh, when you have agents like that, you hold on to them. You send them gifts. You treat them nicely. They're hard to find.
As much as I can. She knows she's my favorite.
Yeah. Okay. So with a house like this, for the most part, like if I just came across this on the MLS, I personally wouldn't even call on it because of a couple things. Like this is new backsplash. This flooring's newer. Could there be some updates? Yes, for sure. Like this kitchen is ridiculously small. However, we're only talking about an 800 square foot house here. So you know what I mean? But given that they've basically told you we want an offer, we want a cash offer, we want to move quick, that makes it much more enticing. So with this one, a couple of things. I think 375 is a little bit high here. I think it works, but I do think that if you can't break a 500 ARV, it's very tight, especially on the resale side to a buyer, because that's at 75%, which is much higher than you want to be. However, it is very clean. There's no majors that need to happen here. So, I mean, if you can get it at 375, I would say we can give it a shot and try to sell it, because I mean, I think we could sell it if we're pushing under 4. I'm calculating it only needs probably less than 30 grand, 40 grand worth of work, and that still leaves a decent profit for this price point. Um,
And what was the, I'm sorry, guys, I like fell asleep a little bit in the back of my head. What was the after repair value for that purchase price?
475 to 500. 475 being conservative, 500 is like the push for that 509 comp.
Got you. Okay, I'm tracking with you. Yeah, this is one
However,
of those ones.
with agents that flip, you always want to ask what their ARV is. Because
Yeah.
they'll usually have a pretty good one. And in Colorado, there is a large percentage of the agents that do flip. Like I'd say probably 40% of my buyers are also agents.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would definitely ask the agent what comp she's saying because I mean, I could be missing something. And also there could be some concessions on this 509 that aren't in this description.
Right.
That's
So
true.
I don't know how set in stone this 509 is. However, if it is, this is the true sales price. I do like it as a comp, given that it's a little bit smaller and it has one less bed. I think we could use it. So with an offer, I mean, you would probably want this. Let's run some numbers here.
He pulled out his calculator. Also, I love it when you're like, I could be missing something. There's always that little disclaimer, but like Austin never misses. He's really good.
Okay, so you see what I'm saying? How a 375 works, like numbers wise. However, this is what makes that number very ugly to me.
Yeah.
But like I said, there's a lot of buyers out there, especially right now with inventory where it is, that just need something to keep their crews busy. And I think this is a small and easy enough project that you can come in and make, 50 grand. So honestly, what I would do is I would just have another conversation with the agent. I would ask her how they feel about that 375, if that 375 is like ready to go today, and basically find out what gets that locked up today.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Because
and I did just ask her the ARV, and apparently she's broken because she said 445. So
then
okay.
don't
So well, if
correct
she's don't correct her on it. I would just ask her at 445, where do you think the profit is if I pick this up at 4?
okay.
A little less direct, but like ask her basically where are you seeing the profit? Like if I pick this up at 4 and put in what gets me to, a profitable flip here. If you're seeing a 445, because I don't
she
totally
should speak
disagree.
the language.
Exactly. She should know exactly what you're talking about. She should be looking at basically the same numbers that you are.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that she's a little low, which is good though.
Yeah.
You'd rather the agent be low than high.
Yeah.
So never correct. If they give you a low ARV, don't correct them. Just ask them for their comps.
Right.
Because again,
she just sent me the address. It's 3036 South Grape.
Let's look at it.
She says it's a perfect comp.
It is.
Show us. We want to see it. But for anybody that's out there kind of, asking themselves, why wouldn't you correct? There are times to correct and then there are times not to. In this scenario, Nick already has a great relationship with the agent, enough to be brought and off market. Yay. We already know that that agent's a flipper, so she's in that mindset and understands that mindset of added additional value. But if she's saying after repair value is 445 and we know that we might be able to push that up into the 475s, we don't want to say, hey, we can make more money than you think we can make off of this, so take our lower offer. We want to understand that, okay, this is a tight deal for us. We see that 445, and also this is where we can pick up at. We don't really need to show our homework in terms of like pushing them up to understand that we might make more money.
Okay, so this right here is this is the part of comping where data gets less important and it's more about your end buyer here, right? So this is a perfect comp. I agree. It's a model match, same square footage. We have an extra bed. However, these Formica countertops, no.
Yeah.
These white appliances, no. Right? Washer and dryer in the kitchen, not ideal. So if we go back and look at this one, for example, we can see very quickly the difference in quality of finishes.
Mhm.
right? They have the big, beautiful oven and range here. They have, granite countertops, opened it up a little bit. So that's where you can do this level of rehab and get to this number, or you could come in lipstick, paint the pig, and basically get a 445. Now, with this one, I think that the 445 may be the easier play, given that there's not really much that has to be done at that point to get that, right? Like if we
Mhm.
compare this one to the condition of that 445, they're not super different. I mean, you need to come in, probably clean up the backyard, put some paint, um, maybe some new cabinets in the kitchen, and then clean up this laundry room.
Yeah, it's almost a whole too.
Yeah, I mean, really, it is. The only thing that's concerning is that it sat for so long at 410. So that tells us that it wasn't interesting to homeowners at that point,
Yeah.
nor investors. So I mean, I'm confident in a 375. I would test that offer, like basically dig deep with her and just be like, hey, look, I mean, if you have that offer, take it. We'd be at like a 360 and we can sell it at probably 375.
Okay.
But I mean, I would really just lean on the fact that like if you're not super confident in that offer, here's our number, basically. And then find out where they were planning on listing it. Because if 400 is a soft number and they're saying we want to get as close to that as possible, but this 375 is on the table, find out what's stopping them from taking it and then present an offer. I'll shoot you an email with like the full breakdown of the numbers.
Gotcha. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I do like the 445 comp. I think it works as a wholesale there, but I think if you're going to go all out on a flip, this is basically the comp
Yeah.
because of the difference in finishes. It
Mhm.
makes a huge difference.
Yeah. If they do it right, they can get a lot more for it.
Exactly. And I mean, it's little stuff, right? Like literally just the countertops and appliances. For me, that makes all the difference.
Yep.
I mean,
And
I'd
even
gladly go ahead.
I don't mean to cut you off, Austin. I was just gonna say that difference of the 360 to the 375, I can think of a couple creative buyers who are gonna be interested no matter where we lock up within that window. So I would also just encourage you not to lose the deal, to
Right.
utilize this relationship and let's get it under contract because it really depends on the buyer and what after repair value they wanna build into as to how much money they're gonna get to walk away with.
Exactly. Yeah, because I mean, if you're gonna do the level of finish that 445 has, I mean, your rehab budget is very small at that point. Uh, so there's profit to be made. It just depends. Does a buyer want to make 50K or 20K here?
Right. Yep. That makes sense.
Nick,
So yeah, I mean, I like it. I think there's a deal here. So if, like Corianne said, if 375 is the number that gets it done, get it done. Basically, don't walk on it over 15 grand because worst case scenario, we put some people in the door, they come back lower, and we have to retrade. But I think we can get it sold there, no problem.
Cool. Yeah. We can always game plan afterwards.
Exactly.
cool. Congrats. Just an hour ago, you've got a really solid lead. Go lock it up. I can't wait to work it with you. Before you leave, though,
What's up?
any questions, comments, concerns you want to share with our audience? And then most importantly, let them know what you need and then how to get a hold of you, please. And I'm going to give you the stage.
Questions, comments, concerns. I don't really have too many questions. Do you guys do any comping on here in regards to commercial? I will. Yeah, I'm curious about that. Not necessarily, not big commercial, small multifamily, more specifically. I need to brush up on that someday.
How
40
small?
and under.
Just 2 to 4. Nothing.
Okay, so 2 to 4, yes. There is a difference in how you comp multifamily. So 1 to 4
Right.
units is comped basically apples to apples, right? You need another duplex, another fourplex, another triplex. You're going to comp it that way. Anything above that is less asset based and more income based, if that makes sense. So if you're getting into like big apartment buildings, 6 units, 10 units, 100 units, anything like that, is you're looking at cap rate. That's
Cap
what
rate.
determines value is what it makes, basically. The
Do you ever do
income
gross rent
determines the value.
multiplier?
One more time?
Do you ever do the GRM, gross rent multiplier? Or you only cap rate?
I'm pretty much only cap rate, mostly because that's how my buyers run their numbers. So I just kind of fall in line with what they do. Is there other ways to do it? I'm sure there is. However, we don't really play in the commercial space anyways. So if I'm comping an apartment building, it's literally for like 3 people. Like I'm only looking at it for like 3 buyers, and they all run on cap rate. So it depends. But if you have a duplex, I could take a look at it, or like a
Okay.
1 to 4 units.
I don't right now. I typically just kind of avoid them because I'm not
Okay.
as comfortable with it.
Okay.
I know I can figure it out, but it's just not my wheelhouse. So
Yeah, I mean, I feel there's no reason to to jump into something you don't know if you know what I mean?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
And while I mean, I think it would be good to share with our audience that also, if you're looking at a multi-unit that's between 1 to 4, it needs to be the whole thing that's getting sold. Like, we're not going to look at 2 out of the 4 units because no investor is going to be really interested in not owning the entire roof. They want that.
Right. Which would make a lot of sense. Have you been seeing people selling just one half of a duplex?
I've been seeing people try. I don't know if
That's
it's
weird.
actually selling though.
I feel like it'd be one APN.
I have the top half of an up-down duplex sitting in my inbox right now.
That's strange.
Just the top half.
Interesting.
So they get to handle the entire roof on their own, but then somebody else gets to handle the foundation. Like, those kinds of breakdowns of things get really difficult, to say the least.
For sure.
All right, Nick, what's your superpower and how can people get a hold of you? Because you're too cool.
The easiest way to get a hold of me, I've learned how to use Instagram lately. So you can DM me on Instagram. It's nickstewart09. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me now. It's the cleanest for random people. And then also, I'm primarily in the Missouri market, working in Kansas City and Springfield primarily. I can do some in St. Louis, but I like to focus on Springfield and St. Louis. So, yep. And then if you have anything in Colorado, you can always send it over to me too. I work with Corey Ann in Austin, so it'll all jump into the same family.
100%. I dropped your IG handle in the chat so people could copy paste and find you.
Very cool.
Austin, are you going to follow him right now? Is that what you're doing?
No, I think I was looking for Scott's number. I think Scott does deals in Missouri and Kansas City and St. Louis. Scott Wood.
Okay.
Connect with him. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm like 95% sure that's where he does business currently.
Okay. Yeah, there's like one or two people that are out here. He's buying, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I can't believe he's buying. I helped him get his first deal in Colorado and get it closed.
Really?
And I just it blows my mind now that he's in a place where he's buying and kicking butt in Kentucky and all that kind of stuff. I have a little moment.
He's an Astro guy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever met him.
I think he got his first deal and he doesn't hang out with us as much anymore.
That's cool.
That's where he's out buying and stuff, but he's really cool. We'll make sure you get all his info. And if anybody else needs a contact in Kentucky specifically, he's the man. So just hit us up for it.
Interesting. Cool. Well, I appreciate your guys' show. It helps all the people learn how to comp.
Thanks, Nick. We appreciate you popping on back here. You're welcome anytime. If ever you find yourself on a Wednesday in the afternoon, like, you know what, just want to hang out with some cool people and be a total goon, or you know what, I need help with this particular address, you know where to find us.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks,
awesome.
Man.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, bro, let me know what happens with that. I'm interested for sure.
Okay. Sounds good, man. Yeah, we'll create a game plan and I'll send something over to you.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Perfect.
All right, bud.
See you soon. Alrighty, to everybody else that's hanging out with us and in the chat, you have the same invitation that Nick does to pop in with us behind the scenes and really ask some questions, but we're also looking at the chat. So if you just want to drop an address, you don't want to have to put your face out there in the world, that's what we're here for. And honestly, guys, You have access to Austin's brain for the next 30 minutes. I highly suggest you use it if you've got anything that is related to the Colorado market that you've got questions on. Aside from this hour, I keep his brain to myself to run my business, to kick butt, and to bring us all the right offer prices. Generally, he does not have as accessible of his brain as he does right now. So, highly
That's true.
suggest. In the meantime, I think we might have another address in here. I'm gonna get pulled up. Nope, no other addresses. How about we just pop into Privy and take a little scoop around the MLS deals and see if we can find a deal while we're sitting here. I don't waste time. That's for sure.
Okay, let's see.
Mhm.
Okay, so when I'm looking in Privy, these are this is basically the easiest filter that you're going to look for. Let's put it at 70. This Privy Preferred will pull up. It has an algorithm that basically runs comps for you and will tell you what is priced well. So you see that number that was just on the screen dropped dramatically. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so this obviously looks pretty clean, not super interested. Same thing here. This one, however,
Ooh,
is
yeah.
interesting.
Anytime you see some laminated paper that's been taped to a wall, you know it's not a good sign.
Yeah, or boards on the windows.
Oh yeah, that too. I didn't even see that.
Great opportunity for an investor. Harvey Park. Completely demolished. Needs to be remediated for methamphetamine. And the quote for that is in documents. Okay. So this is a crack house, basically, is what we're looking at. It needs to be mediated for meth. I haven't ran across this before. Have you?
Yes, I have a couple of times. And it's very similar to a foundation-like issue where the cost could range from something very simple, like a 3,000 to 30,000. So in
Gotcha.
a lot of times that is kind of the concern, but looking at it, what we're looking at right now, I would kind of place it in the middle zone and say this is gonna be like $10,000 to $15,000 to remediate and get rid of any meth residue. But I have a buyer who loves those. Loves them.
Perfect. Well, there is a quote for it in the documents that I cannot see in here, but you can find probably on the MLS.
Probably. Can you give me the MLS number? Do you see that?
Is it this?
Ah, yes, that's the thing, but that is way too small for me to read. Will you read it to me?
REC
Yep.
2391483.
Okay, perfect. Let's see if I can find
Let's
some info
take a
on
look
this.
at some comps. Just a disclaimer, if I haven't talked to the agent, I usually wouldn't comp it, but in spirit of the show, we will take a look.
Yeah. But if I need to call the agent live here, you know I'll do it.
This is priced very well. However, it's fresh on the market.
I'm headed into the MLS, which is a very boring, ugly web page, y'all. I mean, like, honestly, there's a reason we use Privy. Even with me as a licensed agent, I'm comping here first. I'm only going to the MLS if I need that additional document. And the reason is it just makes it so much simpler. If you guys want a awesome discount code to Privy, all I need from you is a DM to me on IG and I will hook you up. You can find me on IG at Corianne Wright. All right. I need another web browser. That's how terrible the MLS is. All right. Boop. Austin, as you're scrolling and thinking, as much as possible, if you can bring that thinking outside of your brain and through your mouth for everybody, it would be extremely helpful because we're watching you think.
Yeah, so I'm looking for, so there's, you can see these comps down here that look, square footage is similar. However, the elevation is very different. So I'm looking for something as similar to this as possible. If there is nothing exactly like this, we'll, adjust as needed. But that's what I'm looking for right now. Something with the most similar elevation. Like this one's good. It's a bit smaller though. Not too small to use. So do like this one. Actually, I do not. It is pretty far away. See, but this one I'm not super hot on because the elevation's different. This is much prettier than this, just because, you can see the front door, the garage is right there. This one has a turn to go up, long driveway. The long driveway, in my opinion, I don't think technically it adds value from an appraisal, but from a home buyer looking in, I would much prefer a long driveway because you can fit much more vehicles. You could put something in the garage. You could even add a carport here if you wanted to, right? So that's desirable to me. This front door to me is ugly. So I'm looking for something similar like this, right? This is perfect. Go up, right in.
Mhm.
So let's look at this one.
Yeah, that one is solid. And
Here.
you guys might know he's kept his window of looking relatively small, but especially on the right side of the highway. He's not crossing the highway for any comps, and there's a reason for that. We don't want the comps on the other neighborhood. We want to compare apples for apples, just like Jamil says. And I'm actually kind of shooketh with myself on how close I was to the repair value of this particular meth problem. The statement came out to 18,910 is going to be the cost to remediate this meth problem.
Sorry, what was it?
18,900. So 19,000.
I'm actually interested to see if there's new builds in the area.
Oh, you're thinking just like knock it completely down might be its highest value?
Pretty much. I mean, honestly, in the city limits of Denver, that's my first thought most of the time, just because there's so much new development going on out there. I always look to see if it's a possibility, because the other piece to it is with on market specifically, you'll see a lot of stuff that's sitting on the market that's overpriced. And then if you look at it as a tear down, you realize it's not, still overpriced usually, but not wildly overpriced, right? Like if you look at it as a flip, you're like, oh my, this is $250,000 too expensive. Like, what are they thinking? Look at it as a tear down, it may just be, 100 grand overpriced, not 200 grand, right? So I always look at it that way. In any build heavy market, you always want to consider it, just because, again, sometimes you can pay more to do a teardown than you could for a flip.
I want to look at these specifically. And for anybody that's joining us from straight out of Compin, Jamil will always choose all in his settings because he wants to see everything. In a lot of ways, we want to narrow it down when we're searching. And one of my all-time favorites is the all and then investor only, because it's showing you all the investment activity in the area. Whether or not they're comps is where then you've got to start applying your brain space. But
Okay, so
Play with
this is
those settings because it makes privy really powerful.
okay, so this right here is exactly what I was looking for. So if we go here, we can see this has that same long driveway that goes up the side, has the
Mhm.
same pathway up the stairs into the house, and it's a beautiful flip inside. So this is the comp that I would grab. It's
Yeah.
right within that 90-day mark. Um, this is the comp. So I mean, I think this is a 650 ARV for sure. And the beauty of it is it's only a 4 square foot difference, so I'm not even going to make any adjustments for that.
Oh, amazing. Will you click on before and after of this particular property? Let's see if that even
Beautiful ending
exists.
spot on market. I don't know that this was
Flipped in a short timeline.
it definitely was not. It was held for quite some time, but I mean, they did a beautiful job here. Let's see what they picked it up for. 475. Yeah, so I mean, this meth house is priced well. Granted, we'll have to definitely make an adjustment here, given that there's meth problems, and with that probably comes a plethora of other problems. Like I said, I've never came across a meth house, so I'm not quite sure what that all entails. I will poke some of my smarter friends today and find out. But I am interested here. Corinne, do you want to call the agent on this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's
I
see.
think she just needs to be slightly below where we're currently sitting because, and if you'll send it to me in the private chat in the far right, that would be helpful. So you don't have to read me this gal's number. 439. Yeah, if I were to calculate this, I'm like somewhere between 400 and 420 as a pickup price. So she's really not that far off, but there's a lot of work. But I don't need to know that going in. We can learn from said gal.
Said gal does prefer text over call. Do you want to call anyways?
It says specifically she prefers text over call.
Text is very
Um,
much preferred form of communication.
No, I don't want to call her if she says that's preferred. And I want to share this with anybody that does approach on markets. If they're like, always, please always make sure you're reading the property remarks. So then you're not asking questions that are already given to you. And also, my goal is that this is somebody that I can work with multiple times over. So of course I want to show her that I will speak to her and however she wants to have that contact. So what I would probably do is reach out and text and say, hey, I'm looking at this property right now. This is something I'm interested in, but I'd feel a lot more comfortable if I could hop on the phone with you. Do you have a minute? And wait for her to call me, because most people that say, hey, I prefer a text, what they don't like is that feeling of their phone ringing. It's not that they don't like to actually be on the phone and have a conversation with another human. It's that it's always going to feel a little abrupt when the phone is ringing to you and it's your job to answer and be on the timeline of this other person. Whereas if you text and say, when's a good time for that call, then they're in control of their time and their phone, and they'll tell you when's a good time. So in this scenario, let's text on this property, let's chat with her, and then let's go back to our buyers who do like the meth related properties. They like those kinds of big projects, and let's see if their numbers align with ours, and we can bring our homework back next week if anybody is interested.
Here is my breakdown of numbers. This is basically accounting for that 18 grand to fix the meth problem. Because the
Okay.
real
And
profit
I'm sorry.
wanted here is 82.
Okay. That's okay. A little bit lower than the 400s, and that's where people would get excited to pick it up. Totally makes sense to me.
Yeah, because you got to figure with a meth house comes other things. Like at the moment, this house is unenterable without respirators. So there's some stuff that needs to happen here for sure.
And honestly, the big thing there, that's some work, absolutely. But the big thing is that's going to take some time to hold. In the same way that like a
Yes.
cosmetic, you can just pop in there, paint it, work on it. You're, you
Yes.
know, on your timeline. You can't do
This
that with a
is
foundation. You can't do that with meth remediation. You've got to get that work done first, get it permitted, get it approved by the county, and then you can go into paint.
Yeah, so this is essentially the polar opposite of the property of the last property we looked at, right? Next deal was super clean, super easy, come in there, slap some paint, slap some counters, and leave. This
Yeah.
one is not, to say the least. And then yeah, I mean, and when you're talking about foundation issues, when you're talking about anything that's super major of a problem, right? If you're looking at structural, if you're looking at additions, if you're looking at anything like this where there's a major problem, hold time aside, there's greater risk that's involved. So obviously you want to shoot for the higher profit here, right? Like if you could spend 50K on a foundation problem or 50K on a cosmetic remodel, even though you're spending the same, this one is a safer flip. So I'd be okay with making 50 grand here. Whereas if I'm putting 50K into a foundation, it could turn into 75 or could turn into 80K into a foundation. I want that
Mm.
profit a little bit higher. I want that deeper, even though the numbers essentially crunch the same. Does that make sense? Did I confuse anybody?
I'm tracking with you, but I talk to you every day about this stuff. So maybe we just speak a different language. Y'all in the comments, do you understand what's going on? Give us a fire emoji. If you've got questions, drop those for us too.
And give me an angry face if I'm confusing y'all.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah. We need an angry face if you're like, Austin, what? We need to know. Okay. That took us on Privy. That took us 5 minutes to find at most, 10 minutes to comp, and here we have a deal and an agent that we can talk to, and it's a problem. Like there is motivation here, no matter how you look at it, because no 2.5 kids are moving into this kind of property.
yeah.
Okay. We have a guest who just popped back behind stage, and I'm so excited. You all know and love Renee. She works with me on Ask an Agent Anything. Every Tuesday at 2 p.m., we hang out and we literally, excuse me, but shoot the shit about all sorts of things about an agent, and we let people jump in and ask us questions. I highly suggest you join us for that. But she's actually going to be starting something really cool next week and has a bunch of things that she wants to share with you guys. So please welcome the fabulous Renee to the party. You're
We
muted,
can't
girly.
hear you.
Over. Hi, guys.
There you go.
Hello.
So good to see you, Austin, Corianne. I'm glad you guys are holding down the fort for yourselves on Compin, California, or Compin, Colorado. Excuse me. Oh, I let the cat out of the bag. So yes,
You did.
yes. How are you both? I've been listening in, so I wanted to support.
Oh, thank
Good,
you.
good. How are you?
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm a little casual today. I've got a friend in town celebrating a big birthday tomorrow. So I'm actually taking a little time for myself in the middle of the week. I know. Don't feel sorry for me. Anyway, Corianne. So yes, some good news. Next week, starting after Compin, Colorado, I am doing Compin, California. So California is what, the 6th largest economy, I think, in the United States or in the world, or I don't know what what the stat is, but we're pretty darn big. And then I live here in Los Angeles. I work primarily the Southern California market. I'm creeping up into Northern California. Woo! There we go. We're on CNN. I like to just side by side.
I was looking for this the whole time.
It's so good. I have to stay center though. I'm going to be creeping up into Northern California. So after Compin, Colorado, we'll be Compin, California, which is 3 p.m. Pacific Coast time every Wednesday. I'll have a guest on similar to Austin. I don't have an Austin in my life. Austin, can you clone yourself, please? I need an Austin in my life. That would be fabulous. But I'm looking for my Austin. So just like you're looking for a husband sometimes, I'm looking for my Austin. So maybe somebody out there will be a guest on Compin, California, and we'll make a nice partnership together. Similar situation, similar kind of finesse and lineup. Anybody who's got an address you're uncertain of, it could be multifamily. I think it was Nick talking about multifamily. Guys, don't shy away from getting paid and then also helping people. So just because you might not know something or not comfortable regarding something, there's always somebody that has an answer, myself included. I heard Austin say, above 5 units, obviously you want to look at the cap rate, 2 to 4, duplex, triplex, fourplex outside of a single family home. that's a different comping strategy. So we can talk about that. Bring all those comps, to Compin California. Oh my goodness, you talked about the meth house. I don't see too many of those in LA County. They're probably more out in the Inland Empire. So, we'll see what pops off. I will have a guest on, and it'll be a newbie to an advanced person to someone like myself who's an agent and an investor and kind of an agent-friendly investor. So every Wednesday, 3 p.m. Pacific time. And then next Thursday, for those of you who are actually in the California market, Keighley, which if you know Jamil, that's his franchise, Keighley for disposition. One of the Keigleys, they go by Keighley SoCal, and myself and a handful of mostly sub-2 students, a Gator lender, some other sub-2 students, and then SoCal JV, which is a monthly event that is hosted here in LA and also in San Diego area. Fortunately, I put them together. So we're doing a twofer. It's going to be out in Pasadena. Please DM me for the information. I'm the panelist. I'm the only astro flipping student on the panel, as well as the only agent on the panel, talking about how to talk to agents. What are we looking for? How do I qualify for that? Well, I've been 18 years as an agent. And prior to that, I've been buying and selling stuff. And of course, repping, astro flipping. So it's going to be really good. We already have 100 people RSVP'd. We have room for about 200. They're going to have food and drinks. So guys, Pasadena, even if you're in Santa Monica, make it out there and DM me for the invite. I think it starts at 5:30.
When was this?
Danielle, I am
Thursday
looking at
the 23rd. Is that what it is? Oh, I don't have my calendar.
you.
This coming Thursday.
Yep.
I have
23rd.
Yeah, Thursday the 23rd. Okay, perfect. Yep, and it's Keighley SoCal and SoCal JV. And remember, SoCal JV is, or if you don't know, there's sub-2 students that started it. SoCal Keighley is just that. They're one of the more active franchises that actually care about astro flipping students, as well as the investor community at large, because they are franchises. They don't have to do that. They want to do that. And so, yeah, I called them up, said, here's what I'm up to. How can I help? And then this was born. So it's good stuff.
Woo. Oh, that's so exciting. I wish I could be there because honestly, like one, just to give you a big hug, but two, to be at an in-person event, being able to talk to the people that are out there doing this and having that kind of community and support. I'm looking at you, Danielle. I know you're in the comments and the chats, and I know that you live out there in LA and you want to get to know Renee in person, not just work with her via DM. So get your butt over there.
She's RSVP'd.
Yeah, you should RSVP because they got to get a head count for, I think it's going to be tacos. That's a SoCal thing, man. You want some food truck food? That's what we're known for here. So it's going to be good stuff. It's free. The food is free. And of course, the networking, even if you walk away with one little nugget. And, I like to be a connected person. That's one of my superpowers is connecting people. So I'm bringing some fair trade people. I mean, if you want to get some FaceTime, even if you don't end up doing business with folks, it's always good. I mean, we're well past post-pandemic, but I think sometimes people are slugging their way to face. And listen, nothing beats it. And don't just listen to my opinion. Jamil and Pace, they took their hard-earned dollars, their invaluable time, and they did Pace and Jamil Do America a couple of years ago because they realized how important it is to get belly to belly with people, not just hanging out on Zooms and, getting to know people. That's how we are wired as human beings. It's all very convenient to hide behind your technology, but nothing beats getting face to face, and it really solidifies relationships. Corey, and I think you and I even kind of solidified our relationship when we were at community camp over the summer. It really made a difference. Yeah.
Oh, it really did. Well, anyway. I think there is something to be said about really being in another person's energy. And I will never forget that first time of meeting you in person. Not only did I learn more about you, but I think I learned how to be a better friend and how to show up differently because of the things that you were bringing into my life. And so, we're all about that. And honestly, I'm going to use this as a jumping point because all three of us are here together because we met in astro flipping. And it's important to find communities that work for you. And in a lot of ways, I will always be the person who's astro flipping 100%, it's the way to go. And the reason for that is I've been in so many other communities before I found my astro flipping family that did not feel the same, that were more undercutting than family driven, more competition than actual collaboration. And it sucks when you're new in real estate and you find yourself in one of those places where you're not getting that kind of true support. So if you're out there and you're like, I need my people, your people are waiting in astro flipping. If you want to be on the investment side, if you want to be on the wholesale side, if you want to be thinking through that, even me and Renee, we're agents. We work traditional side as well, but we are a part of this community to really get behind the scenes, get to know the right people. And it's collaborative AF. I don't really have a better word for that. So follow me on IG, hit me up with a DM if you want to be brought into the family. I will connect you to the right people and make sure that you get that in the door activity happening for you. So
Amen. That's right.
100%.
And yeah, make sure you follow us on Ask the Agent Anything, because Corianne and I talk a lot about what it is to be an agent, kind of agent investor, investor friendly agent. You know, these are all semantics, but you're finding your way through this. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I was just talking to a friend this morning. If I had to start all over again in real estate, sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So you just dive in, you throw yourself in the deep end, and you're like, well, I didn't know that there were so many sharks in the deep end, right? And I was like, I know too much. I don't know what's better. What's 6 1/2? You know, I know too much, or you know, I don't know enough. Anyway, the point is that if I had to start all over again and be an agent, oh my goodness, it's brutal out there. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's getting more and more difficult to be a realtor, and NAR coming down on us, although really that's just a skills thing, but still, you know, it's a skills-based business. A lot of people start out as buyer's agents, and it's going to become more challenging if you don't know what the heck you're doing. And in my opinion, if I had to start over all over again, I would sure as heck get on a team. I would get on a team immediately and be on a team for some time and contribute to that team, not take from the team and then go out and just do my own thing, which seems to be kind of the MO with a lot of people. Oh, I'll just go learn and then go on and do my own thing. So, you know, find your people, whether it's on a proper team, a 50-50 split type of thing, or, you know, be collaborative and find your people, get in a community, be on some kind of team, hunker down, find your folks. Because I'm telling you, Lone Ranger status in this business is getting more and more narrow. It's if you aren't already established. So I'm just saying from experience, you know, I've seen it before it was the smartphone. I've seen it, you know, when Zillow, oh my God, I sound like I'm 100 years old.
don't age yourself, Renee.
My first year in real estate was a Zillow and Trulia. If you remember, Trulia hit the scene, and I mean, you know, they thought the world was going to, all the seniors agents thought the world was going to come to an end then. Anyway, the point is that technology is squeezing us. And so we need to kind of lock arms together. And that's my 2 cents on showing up to person REI events and getting on calls like this and being active in the chat, because you will find your people if you can't afford, you know, going into astro flipping or sub 2.
100%. And there's something to be said about live events and joining a team, right? Like Corianne said, we were both in Astro for a year, and then we were just both happened to be at an in-person event a little over a year ago now. And I mean, look what it produced, right? Like now we're the biggest hitters in Colorado. So it's there's definitely something to be said.
Yeah,
exactly. And there's something to be said about finding your people, and you know, especially the in-person events, because the reality of it is, could we have crossed paths through Astro? Yes. Would it been as instrumental to the business as it was being in person? Definitely not, because the relationship, like you guys said, the relationship is deeper. And then also there's something to be said about anybody who's in the chat that's scared to call agents or anything like that. I mean, you got to realize that both of them are agents, and these are the least scary people there is, right? Like they're not, like there's nothing to be scared of. Which is why I'm a big advocate of Ask an Agent Anything, is because you really see, like, they're just people, right? And especially like you two are agents who understand this side of the business, so you can bring both sides of it. As an agent, here's why this is annoying, but as an investor, here's why this works, right? Like, you know what I mean? You get both sides of it. So yeah, I mean, my best advice to anybody in the chat is, if you are scared to get on the phone or nervous with agents or have a new script that you want to test out or any of the above, definitely go to Ask an Agent Anything, because you can talk to all the investors in the world, but at the end of the day, agents are the people that you're going to do the business with. So you want to understand how their brain works 1,000%.
Oh, thank you. And there is a language, you know, I jokingly say, but not so jokingly, I say I speak agent. And
no,
I do
100%.
Because there is something about agents that are more experienced, maybe even just a couple of years in the business, you can pick up on it pretty quickly. There's nuances, you know, to being quote unquote experienced. And that's part of what we hear. I was on another call actually with Keeley SoCal, in setting up this panel earlier this morning, and there's a gentleman who's going to be on the panel who's basically like Corey and myself. You know, he's an agent investor, sub-2 student as well. And I was just saying something about, oh, I speak agent, this and that. He's been an agent for 13 years. And he just started laughing on the Zoom. Like, he knew exactly what I was talking about. So it's a dirty little secret, right, of the agents, that we are listening. We can ferret out BS like there's no tomorrow. We should be private investigators. I don't know why that is, but it's just like, we're always, you know, when's the shoe going to drop, right? And at the same time, we're looking for people to collaborate with.
And thank you for saying that, Austin, because really Ask an Agent Anything is to create that rainbow bridge between the two worlds, because they need each other to go faster, further, all of the F's. Like, you need each other to make it happen. And in a lot of ways, Renee and I just want to pull back the curtain and show you how we're thinking and how we like being approached, and what doesn't work and what does work, because we want to see investors succeed, because then agents succeed. We all need each other in the same dirty pool.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I've never, on the agent side of things, I've never understood agents that don't work with investors, for the same reason that I don't understand investors that don't work with agents. Because on both sides of it, it poses the same question: is why would you not work with somebody that you can do business with forever, and choose to work with somebody that you're only going to do one transaction with? Right? Like, I talk to agents and they're like, oh no, I don't like investor buyers, I only deal with homeowners. And I'm like, okay, so how many deals do you do with each of your clients? Oh, one, maybe two. I'm like, okay, you could do 100 with an investor and make, like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
same thing goes for investors that are like, oh no, I only deal direct to seller, I don't like agents, I don't want to talk to agents. Like, okay, but now you're paying or calling or have to go find every single lead every single time. Whereas you get one good agent. I mean, look at Jamil. He has Monique Walker. He can make $1 million a year picking up one person's phone call. Like that. I mean, I've never understood the disconnect. It's never made sense to me. I mean, I don't know.
It's a resistant bunch. I don't know why. I mean, listen, guys, you know how long I've been in the business, and I'm talking to agents. I call as an agent. I don't call as an investor. I call as a fellow agent to do networking with my fellow agent. That's part of my script. And even I get stiff armed from them. So don't get discouraged. You know, sometimes it's like, we need to hear it 3 or 4 times, you know, unless no is a complete sentence for somebody. It's like, you know, that person that you want to ask on a date and they're like, no. Well, maybe they're just having a minute. So if you really like that person, you'll call again and maybe call again. Treat it like dating. You know, you're wooing and dating the agent, if you will. Don't spend a lot of time on one, but that's the thought process. And, you know, I'll tell you this, in 2007, you know, I thrived and survived through that last down market, as they like to call it, the Great Recession. That was no joke, guys. That was at least a solid 3 or 4 years. I venture to say that people that are complaining and bitching about this shifted market have no clue what it's like to actually go through something like that. I mean, I knew highfalutin agents in the middle of Los Angeles that just wouldn't sheerly didn't want to sell crappier houses in neighborhoods that they never wanted to go into because their pride got in the way, and they got out of the business. No joke. And then they dipped back in the business, and thank God they had, I don't know, money coming in somewhere else, a spouse, whatever. And for those of us who didn't necessarily have that or have an option, I dove right in, and it was the only thing that kept me afloat, was working with investors. So if any agents are out there and you know, listening to this and going, yeah, this is all fine and well and good, but I still just don't want to do it. Look, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. But if there's something in there that says to you, I'm interested, I implore you to actually come in the water with Corianne and I, because honestly, one of the reasons why I doubled down on working with investors is, number one, I like that avatar. It really fit my personality. They're pretty bottom line, you know, quick decision makers. I like that. But number two, investors are always buying, guys, always buying. And if you're very myopic and you're like, well, I just want to sell to, you know, one profile of buyer, you know, when this market shifts every 10 years, you're going to get a rude awakening. And we're in it right now. And I know that sounds hard, but I'm telling you, I lived through it. And if I didn't shift and pivot when I did, I don't know that I would be in this business. And I really realized it doesn't matter what kind of market you are in necessarily for the investor. They're always buying. They 100%. Don't really care.
And that translates to buyers also. Like, to talk about the other side of what you're saying, right? Like, you're looking at it from the agent side, but my favorite buyers are buyers that are like, yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about the market. I don't care about interest rates. I don't care about any of that. I went through 2008 and didn't lose my ass. That's my favorite kind of buyer because they know how to adjust.
Mhm.
They didn't just get into real estate in 2020 when, you know, it was viral on social media and everybody was talking about, look at all these flips and watch the HGTV show. Like, no, they were out there in the trenches before all of that and made the necessary adjustments to make it through 2008. Because the reality of it is there's a large percentage of investors that lost everything in 2008 because they refused to adjust and they couldn't.
Mhm.
So, I mean, there's definitely something to be said about longevity in the business because this business isn't a consistent business at all. You have to adjust or you'll just get outpaced.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did. I doubled down. I took a look at the horizon and I said, you know, if I'm going to be, first of all, I don't really sell the high end. I never have. It just wasn't my wheelhouse. I don't have a little black book of people. I could have developed it, but it's just not the way I like to network and market. So no
Right.
problem, right? But unless you're kind of in that echelon, and I'm talking, you know, $4 or $5 million and
Yeah,
above,
5 million
right?
plus. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that really is like a little black book of people. You probably belong to country clubs. You know, you have a network. This is press the flesh kind of stuff here, guys. This
Yeah,
is
you're
not
meeting
text
those people
messaging.
in very, very targeted places.
Very targeted places. You know, high net individuals. They're a little skeptical. You know, it's very much referral based, very referral based. Okay,
Yes.
unless you're doing that, we're going to put those people over there. I mean, you really need to adjust, like you're saying. You know that I hate to say this, but this is me. This is my opinion. I don't really hate to say this. This is just my opinion. I basically got out of residential retail. So the only thing that's coming my way is past clients, center of influence, and referrals. So I don't on the daily prospect. You know, I'm not the local area specialist, and I work with investors, which a lot of agents are. But I'm
Mm.
telling you, I feel like if I was just that, I might be in a world of hurt right now. It's too
Well,
precarious. I implore my fellow agent to actually start working and understanding the language of the investor because it's just so supplemental and it's to me it's a bit more steady. I mean, you got to get through a lot of people and you know get through a lot of muck to find your people. That frankly, investors are not particularly have a lot of allegiance. They're just going to go with who brings them the deal. But hey, if you bring them the deal, they'll buy it. You know,
Yeah.
so that's what I mean about the consistency. So as long as you can be okay with that, and there's really no loyalty anywhere, but that you do good, be good, you know, do good service, be right by people, they'll know that. You know, they'll know that.
And if that's a topic that you really enjoy, because we all know that the three of us here we could talk for the next
I know,
hour
we gotta
about it.
wrap
But
it
if it
up.
is something that you want to know more about and that you enjoy talking about, next Tuesday at 2 p.m. MST time and all the other ones that are around it, that's when we talk about Ask an Agent Anything and we really get into the weeds, and you're welcome to be a part of that conversation. So just save the date. Then save the date for next Thursday to go see Renee in person. And next week on Wednesday, we're creating this channel and train of giving you guys resources in comping. You can join Renee right after Compin Colorado. Compin California will start on her page, and we'll make sure that you've got the link to jump over to her next week. But I just want to remind you guys, save the date, and we'll see you then. Thanks, Renee, for popping back here. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. I'm going to pull you off the stage because I got
Yeah,
something for the people hanging in the chat.
I love it.
And
All
I
right,
want
guys,
to get
be
in
well.
close.
See you next week.
Bye. As always, thank you, Austin, for being the other half of my brain and business partner. I couldn't be like more grateful that we met in that room at the Tike Summit event, and then found out that we actually had the puzzle pieces to work together. If you guys want to work with us in Colorado, all you got to do is hit us up at deals@closewithkickflip.com. That is in the
yeah,
chat. It's also right there, the bottom.
and you can scan that.
Yeah, get that QR code, take it back a few minutes, make sure you grab it, and I'll see you on the other side, Austin. Bye. All right, if you're in the chat, I want to talk to just you guys because honestly, I appreciate that you're here. Like, so much. It really makes my heart happy that you've taken the time to spend this hour with us, that you've jumped from straight out of Compin over to Compin, Colorado. And I just want to say a big thank you. I notice your names in the chat. I know many of you that we've had conversations, whether it be on DMs or on the phone. And I'm grateful for you guys sticking around and being a part of my journey here on YouTube because it's scary for me. It's so scary to put my face out there. It's so scary to come on and share a lot of this information that it took me so long to figure out. And I'm glad that I'm here to do it because it really did take me so long to figure it out. I ate gravel so many years in a row as I was moving from my art career over into real estate. And I want to protect you guys from that. So please subscribe to my channel if you would be so generous to do so. I'm going to bring a lot of great content over the rest of this year. And I'm just very grateful that you guys took the time to be here. So my thank yous are for you. And I'll catch you next week. We're going to be on Ask an Agent Anything and Compin, Colorado. I'll see you guys all then. Bye.